mythological god, and Psyche is a mortal princess. Cupid and Psyche is made with oil paints on a canvas. Oil painting began to be a common medium during the 15th century Northern Renaissance. Oil paints create brilliant saturated color and make the image look brand new. West creates a very distinctive foreground and background in this image, allowing us to focus directly on the two figures that take up the majority of this canvas. Psyche and Cupid create three diagonal lines. Cupid and Psyche's bodies create diagonal lines going toward the right side of the picture, while Cupid's wings create a diagonal line going the opposite direction. Benjamin West uses the illusion of depth to create an idea of subjects being closer or farther away from the viewer. There are opposite colors used in the painting. The background scenes use dark tones like grays, blacks, and dark greens and blues, while the foreground uses the bright pale skin tone, reds and yellows. The reds and yellow colored garments of Cupid and Psyche create a feeling of happiness. Benjamin West uses a special type of shading used by Leonardo da Vinci called sfumato. Sfumato is a technique that forms almost a misty, dreamlike effect. The painting is idealized. The bodies of both Cupid and Psyche are depicted according to the accepted standard of beauty of the time period in which he was influenced. The method I will use to describe the piece is iconography, which implies that a written text or powerful symbols underlie the image. Cupid and Psyche depicts the story of the Golden Ass by Voltaire, which is a fable by the Greeks that tells the love affair of Cupid and Psyche. We can see some of these depicted in this piece of art. The small silver urn is seen as Psyche's feet, which represents the temptation Venus gave to Psyche and her susceptibility as a human to fall for it. The background scene is dark, and you can see small Cupid-like figures beating down a sea serpent, as well as two birds fighting mid-air on the right side of the canvas. This represents the difficult task that Venus assigned Psyche prior to her being able to unite with Cupid. Cupid and Psyche's deep gaze into each other's eyes and the placement of their hands represents the love story depicted in the story. It shows the moment when she wakes up after Cupid kisses her. We could conclude that painting the two partially nude creates erotic connotation and allows the viewer to assume they are together romantically. Cupid and Psyche was created in 1808, which was during the time of the Neoclassicism. Neoclassicism was influenced mainly by both the classical Greek era and the contemporary pace of Rome. Some characteristics of neoclassical pieces include the use of somber colors with occasional bright, brilliant highlights, which were used to convey self-sacrifice. Also, in almost all the neoclassical images, artists create women not in a full nude image, but rather with their drapery covering half of their bodies, which can be seen in pieces by Marie Gris and Antonio Canova. West took this idea of covering up half the body and changed it up a little, so we see her side and back. The idealized proportions of the nude Psyche was influenced by the late classical Greek style. Psyche in this painting has fleshier proportions and a heavier and fuller face. West creates Psyche with ideal standards of beauty and not what women actually look like. Like mentioned before, West uses sfumato, which comes from the High Renaissance. Cupid and Psyche consist of distinct diagonal line composition that causes the viewer to look at certain places on the piece. These distinct lines are brought in from the influence of the Baroque period. In Cupid and Psyche, the main diagonal line we see is from the way Psyche is positioned, which have her eyes move up her body to the interaction occurring between Cupid and Psyche. Cupid is also positioned in a diagonal line going in the same direction as Psyche, and then his wings create a third diagonal line going the opposite direction. When trying to find a piece to analyze for this project, I knew I wanted it to be located at Crystal Bridges, and I thought that I would prefer to analyze a painting over any other kind of museum of art. I think that paintings have so many techniques used and almost always contain symbolism of some type. Paintings in my eyes are also tell such a huge story. We can learn so much about history. I enjoyed the fact that I picked a piece that occurred in an era that we haven't researched yet, because it gave me the ability to look ahead in our book and research in more depth about Benjamin West. It was interesting to be able to start to make connections between different eras and see how each era of history influenced the other. I think overall Benjamin West did an amazing job portraying the two stark feelings of this particular piece of the story. The two feelings being the happiness that occurs when Cupid and Psyche can finally be together, and then also the darkness portraying